Good day and welcome. You're watching Maarten NEWSDESK, where we bring you the latest and most important stories around the island and beyond. With your anchor crew, Alston Lawrence, Glenda York, Tiziana Hart, and Mizzy with the Sunshine Report. This broadcast is brought to you by TV15 and proudly produced by Great Bay Media Studios in Philipsburg, St. Maarten. And now, let's jump straight into today's top headlines.
Justice Minister meets U.S. Consul General. Justice Minister the Honorable Natalie Taglin met on Friday, May 22nd with Chico Negron, Consul General of the U.S. Mission to the Dutch Caribbean and the U.S. Consulate General in Curaçao. The courtesy meeting focused on ongoing cooperation between St. Maarten and the United States in areas of justice and law enforcement. During the discussion, Negron commended the St. Maarten Police Force and the Public Prosecutor's Office for their continued collaboration with U.S. agencies. He also noted the quality and consistency of the work being carried out through that cooperation. Minister Taglin and the U.S. Consul General also explored ways to further strengthen cooperation between St. Maarten and the United States. The meeting was described as constructive and positive, with the U.S. Consulate expressing appreciation for recent developments in St. Maarten. Healthcare registrar advances as centenarian honored. VSA Minister the Honorable Richinel Brooks says St. Maarten is making significant progress on the Healthcare Professional Registrar project while also recognizing a major milestone in the community. The Healthcare Professional Registrar project is now moving into a new phase focused on stakeholder review, system design, and legislative preparation. According to Minister Brooks, several key steps have already been completed, including stakeholder consultations, legislative analysis, comparative reviews of healthcare registration systems, and working visits to Aruba and Curaçao to assess best practices. The next step is the finalization of the discovery report, which will include stakeholder feedback and proposed design options for St. Maarten's future healthcare registry. That report will be shared with stakeholders for review during June and July, followed by another consultation meeting expected in August. The project will also prepare for the development of a future digital registry platform and updated healthcare legislation. Minister Brooks says the goal is to create a stronger and more transparent healthcare system with clear professional standards, better oversight, and stronger patient safety. In another VSA update, Minister Brooks extended congratulations to Mr. Urbain Javois, who celebrated his 100th birthday on May 25th. Born in La Savane, St. Maarten in 1926, Mr. Javois lived and worked across several Caribbean islands before returning to St. Maarten, where he contributed to the island's development through his work as a skilled mechanic and entrepreneur. Minister Brooks said Mr. Javois' life is an inspiration and a reminder to honor the wisdom, resilience, and contributions of the island's senior citizens. BOPP student registration already closed. The Department of Youth says student registration for the 2026 Business Outreach and Placement Program, known as BOPP, has officially closed after strong demand. Registration opened on Wednesday, May 20th, but was closed by Saturday after the program reached and surpassed its maximum capacity within just 5 days. The department says the overwhelming response shows the growing demand among young people for practical work experience, workplace exposure, and professional development opportunities. Now in its 28th year, BOPP connects youth between the ages of 16 and 24 with public and private sector organizations for summer work placements. The department thanked all students who registered, as well as businesses, organizations, and government departments that continue to support the program. Students who successfully registered will receive further information about orientation, interviews, and pre-placement training. They are being urged to check their emails regularly for updates. The department is also continuing its call for more businesses and organizations to register as host partners and help prepare St. Maarten's future workforce.
Hello, my people. My name is Glenda York of Sit, Sip and Chat and Moms in Paradise podcast. You can find us on TV15 St. Maarten, TVC St. Kitts, and on YouTube. Reporting from Great Bay Media Studios in St. Maarten, your NEWSDESK featured story is coming up. But first, here is Mizzy with the Sunshine Report.
Hey there, it's Mizzy with the Sunshine Report, straight out of Sunshine City, St. Maarten, bringing you the warmth and the sunshine you need to kickstart your day. So let's dive into the forecast and see how the skies are treating us.
SEDC press conference set for Wednesday. The St. Maarten Entrepreneurship Development Center, known as SEDC, is inviting members of the media to a press conference with Economic Affairs Minister, the Honorable Grisha Maarten, on Wednesday, May 27th. The press conference will focus on advanced education program, an initiative within the E6 country package. The program is executed by SEDC and is designed to strengthen sector-specific skills, address business development gaps, and help St. Maarten's micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises move to the next level. Organizers say the press conference will present achievements made so far under the program, along with new initiatives planned for the coming months. St. Maarten in Focus begins distribution. The St. Maarten in Focus project has officially begun its artistic distribution phase, bringing images of the island's landmarks, landscapes, and cultural spaces into corporate, educational, and community environments. The 6-week cultural initiative uses photography, storytelling, and visual installations to celebrate the beauty, identity, and heritage of St. Maarten. One of the first corporate partners to support the initiative is Argos and Tilly's St. Maarten, which received the first image featuring the Guavaberry Monument on Front Street in Phillipsburg. Project lead John Prescott says the initiative is more than an art project. It is a cultural preservation effort meant to keep St. Maarten's stories, locations, and natural beauty visible in the places where people work, learn, and gather. A key feature of the project is the use of QR codes placed within the displayed images. When scanned, the codes will take viewers to a digital platform with information about the stories, cultural meaning, and origins behind each photograph. Organizers say the project will continue over the coming weeks with more placements across the island, helping residents and visitors reconnect with the St. Maarten's visual heritage. Youth vaccination outreach set for May 27th. Collective Prevention Services is holding a youth vaccination outreach on Wednesday, May 27th. Parents and guardians can bring children and teenagers to the Baby Wellness Clinic at the Vineyard Office Park between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. CPS is asking parents to bring their child's vaccination record, especially if they need to verify whether boosters or routine vaccines are up to date. The outreach is mainly focused on children ages 4 to 9 who may not have yet received their vaccine boosters. However, parents who missed recent appointments can also use this opportunity for children from 2 months to 17 years old. Available vaccines include protection against diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, polio, measles, mumps, rubella, pneumococcus, and HPV. CPS says vaccination remains one of the most effective ways to prevent serious childhood diseases and protect the wider community. For more information or appointments, parents can call 542-3003 or WhatsApp at 520-4163.
Hey there, I'm Venicia Herbert, and welcome to the Community Billboard. This is your space where the people, places, and heartbeat of the St. Maarten community get to speak for themselves. Whether it's an event worth showing up for, a business worth knowing about, or a cause worth caring about, you'll hear it right here. So, settle in, because what's coming up next just might be exactly what you've been looking for. Welcome to the NEWSDESK Community Billboard. To be part of our mailing list, send an email to newsdesksxm@gmail.com.
When we come back, we go to our in-depth feature of the day, exploring one of the island's most thought-provoking topics. That's just ahead. Stay tuned.
Let's put everything on the table. People always give their opinion, and you can either take it or crunch it. Let them judge. We give in to the most irresistible flavor. We devour every nugget that falls in our hands, especially when it's our crunchy fried chicken. And let the crumbs fly if needed. Let them keep judging. We'll keep indulging. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
You could talk to your family, talk to your friends. Affordability and convenience. Community connection, that makes sense. Reliability with experience. Hey, for every life, every adventure. Number one provider, they got ya. We tell them your data is always on. You can opt out whenever you want. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want the road. Control my data, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always connected every time, everywhere. Money low, but I never fair. I know, tell them is there. Connectivity, that's what I like. Flexibility, that's what I like. Reliability, that's what I like. Tell them, sign me up for life. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Come tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to go. Come tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want the road.
Before we wrap up, we take a moment each day to check in with our neighbors across the region. There's always a story worth paying attention to. Here's today's regional headline.
In our regional story, Air Peace launches first Afro-Caribbean flight. A new aviation link between Africa and the Caribbean is taking off. As Air Peace launches its first scheduled Caribbean flight from Lagos, Nigeria to Barbados, with Antigua included as part of the route. The service marks a major step in reconnecting the Caribbean with West Africa through direct air access, opening new possibilities for tourism, trade, culture, education, and diaspora travel. Air Peace officials say the route is part of a wider vision to strengthen connections between Africa and the Caribbean, two regions with deep historic and cultural ties, but limited direct air service. For Barbados, the flight is being positioned as more than a transportation milestone. It supports the island's ongoing push to expand tourism markets beyond North America and Europe, while also building stronger links with African nations. Barbados' High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ghana, and Liberia, Juliet Bino Sutherland, has welcomed the development, describing it as an important bridge for people-to-people connection and regional opportunity. The new service also comes at a time when Caribbean destinations are looking for fresh ways to attract visitors, deepen diaspora engagement, and create new business pathways. For travelers, the route could reduce the complexity of moving between West Africa and the Caribbean, where journeys have often required long connections through Europe or North America. Regional observers say the success of the service will depend on consistent demand, strong promotion, and cooperation between tourism authorities, airlines, and the private sector. For now, the first Air Peace flight represents a symbolic and practical step toward stronger Africa-Caribbean connectivity.
Welcome back. Each day we take a moment to go beyond the headlines and look deeper into the issues, people, and conversations shaping life here on St. Maarten. Welcome to today's NEWSDESK feature.
We're back for our second part of E-SXM and where they're at right now. Again, I'm here with Michelle and Femi. Boys.
Thank you for having us.
Last time we had a great discussion on where E-SXM has, where it is right now and where it's going and how it's going to benefit the user and government as well. But you know, on the island, a very major thing we always talk about when we get into computers and AI and all of this, cybersecurity. How is E-SXM dealing with our government and cybersecurity?
So what we've done in the past, actually, we've implemented or actually updated our cybersecurity systems, actually. So we've introduced or installed new next generation cybersecurity systems and so forth that can, better help us detect threats and, do the whole analytics and so forth behind of that as well. One of the future projects that we hope to also work on is implementing sort of what we refer to as a security operations center. So basically, how you continuously do the monitoring of these threats and so forth
like
in the future.
a security department.
Exactly. So, of course, because of certain constraints, we're looking at, partnering with someone to be able to support that as well. But that is actually something that we're looking at in the future. However, what we've also done is, implemented this cybersecurity awareness training for, the civil servants.
Because there's a lot of little things that help cybersecurity.
I mean, they're the front line. They're the first line of defense, actually. So, if they're not properly equipped and knowledgeable of how to handle or how to identify threats, you know what I mean? When you talk about cybersecurity, you're referring to phishing emails and suspicious emails that actually starts the whole attack.
You're not a joke. We say, Dad, stop saying yes to those things.
Exactly.
We all deal with our parents.
Exactly.
But even as simple as things as make sure to lock your computer if you walk away from it.
Correct.
Those kind of things.
Or don't, we've had situations in the past where people wrote down their passwords and had it on their desk or
Stick it on the yellow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by going through this awareness training and so forth, they're better equipped, they're more comfortable and confident in being able to identify not just the threats, but best practices. How do I handle, information? How do I handle, identifying suspicious emails? What not to do with my passwords and so forth, for example.
Yeah.
So, we've been encouraged with the fact that there's been a lot of participation from the civil servants, and this is an ongoing effort. So while the project introduced the implementation of this, the idea is, of course, on a regular basis, every year that civil servants are required to go through this training. Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's great to hear. Another important aspect of anything going at this scale and this important to the way we move forward is the legal framework. I know legal takes long with every. Oh, you're pointing at Michelle.
He is now my internal expert.
I'm knee deep in the middle of it.
What does it take to have a proper legal framework, one, and where are we when it comes to that?
So I think that's a great question, and one of the major things that are guiding us on this, because there's a lot of legislative instruments that we're doing in part of this project, and I'll tip quickly into the overview of them. But one of the major guiding points that we have, and the PM even really stresses, is we have to look at these. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, so we have to look at these big frameworks and standards internationally. But then we also have to scale it down to our size and make sure it meets us there. We also have to adjust it somewhat when it comes to our cultural aspects and make sure that it meets our needs. And then, of course, engage with the stakeholders to capture any use cases that kind of underscore a lot of the different challenges that we're facing currently.
And the legislation. Think about me.
Exactly, but the legislation has to reflect and address all those kind of aspects. So that's really what we've been doing. So we're working with a lot of different vendors, international vendors, really specialize in these topics. And it's legislation for the EID itself, because all of this has to be grounded in legislation. The exchange of data, how it has to be done, the identifier itself. So everyone is going to receive a unique identification number. Which would come to replace our local ID numbers, which is going to be already in itself a change for the island.
That's a big one.
It's going far, exactly. It starts even with that. Then we're talking about enterprise architecture and integration. Enterprise architecture really talks about how things are coordinated. It's not just happening, but happening by design. It's functioning as it should function because someone thought about it. And then we get into legislation regarding cybersecurity, personal data protection, and open data. And these are topics that are really going to go not just for government and how we interact with and process data, but also how companies on the island need to pull up their socks in terms of make sure your data is being handled properly, that their cybersecurity has to be to a certain extent to meet a certain standard. And open data is really going to talk about how government needs to adopt certain standards and making sure that information is readily available. So the public, but also potential businesses can make use of that data.
Definitely.
A great example of that would be, for example, to say what are the statistics on births in a certain district, because maybe for a business such as a daycare, it's important to know, hey, maybe that's a branch I should be opening up in this district because there's really a lot of births happening in that.
And then with the E-Vromi, you know what area.
Exactly.
So it really comes together in a lot of different ways.
It's
all connected. Really.
It's all connected, yeah. I know you guys are highly capable guys, but I know it's not just you two that have put this together. Could you just let the public know the departments, who's involved with doing such a major and critical project? No pressure, but if this goes wrong, it goes wrong. But who all is involved, and how do you come about taking a government from, if we go back to the old building, taking the government from the old building, now we're in a new building for 10 years, but now this new building, bringing everything up to basically how we behave wherever we go around the world.
Sure.
And we have to deal with governments.
Sure.
You guys are doing that in 2026 on a different level. Who's involved?
So let's start off actually with the fact that it is a trust fund project at the end of the day. So this was pretty much birthed out of everything with Hurricane Irma, and
it was a prioritized one.
It was a prioritized one. The then Prime Minister Leona Romeo, she really emphasized having this in place and so forth. So she was really championing this, and I mean since then, up to our current Prime Minister has really been a huge sponsor of this project as well. So it does involve World Bank, of course, and NRPB, who's supporting us in the whole implementation and so forth of this project. Then you have the different stakeholders, of course, and within the organization and also sort of externally as well. I mean, we're talking about, let's start off with the base registry. So we're talking about civil registry, for example, for capturing the information of a person. VOMI, as we mentioned before, with the whole VOMI and address management and so forth. Cadastre is involved, of course, directly. Chamber of Commerce is directly involved. My partner in crime as well is Fabiana Arnell for the Public Service Center. As I highlighted, Public Service Center is also a key stakeholder, so she's involved in it as well. And then we have our internal team that's really supporting it between the IT department. We have a communication officer, project officer, and so forth. So there's a lot of people involved. On a whole, we have the tax administration that's also involved in it. Economic licenses that are also involved in it and so forth. So TIAT is heavily involved. So this really spans across everyone. And then that's just, where we talk about specifically like the data exchange project.
Right.
But if we go to the extent of the legislative activities that we've been doing, we've involved every stakeholder possible. So we're talking about internally, Justice Ministry has been involved, Education has been involved, VSA has been involved. Everyone's been heavily involved in this project and supportive of it because, it's time, right?
Yeah,
so it's trying to keep up with the rest of the world as well.
It's island time.
It was on island time. Exactly.
It was on island time.
And then, of course, we had a lot of participation from other sectors. So, the healthcare sector, both SNV and SMMC has been involved in it at various points and so forth. So it's going to impact, everyone. We've had meetings with the banking sector, the banking association.
So this is a system-wide participation.
I think you would describe it best as it's very foundational.
Exactly.
And there's then a lot of different systems that can now start connecting and making use of a lot of this foundational infrastructure that would improve the overall security, transparency, and the efficiency, and even the integration of it. So making it more efficient for people to handle their own business, but also in terms of their own their cooperation or business that you have on island to be able to do so. And that's for people who live here. But let's also think of our brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles who live abroad in the meantime, that they would also now be able to get better access to the island by means of doing so digitally.
Right, and we're going to wrap up, but one other thing I'm noticing right now is, we don't even know all the other benefits are going to come out of having an e-government.
We have some surprises left for you.
Some surprises.
As we continue to go down this road and so forth, things are like opportunities now become endless and so forth. Because as Michelle mentioned, this is really addressing the fundamental, foundational things that needs to be in place for future innovation. So, just basic things that you might think of start to become like realistic and so forth.
Easier,
in the future.
attainable.
Exactly,
I can imagine this even helps the economy in several ways. All of that time, you usually back then you have to take a day off. I need to go do some
multiple days.
stuff.
Yeah, correct.
It still might not work out. So I would like to applaud you guys on this effort so far. You guys got any last words would like to say to NEWSDESK? Because they're paying attention. They're paying attention.
So I mean, for me, it's really important that everyone stays tuned to what's coming, what we're working on, and so forth. We're going to have a lot more engagement and sort of focus in on some of the key topics and so forth, and key things that we're going to implement in the future. So we look forward to it ourselves, but we hope everyone can embrace it and adopt it as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would really just like to underscore exactly what Femi said, and as well as, please know we are doing our best to make sure that these things happen in a safe way. We're thinking exactly on the use cases that we've received from a lot of the people in our circles of, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm concerned with, and we're really taking those things into account to make sure that these systems and the legislation for that matter takes those things seriously, and make sure that you as a person for your business that you're well protected in everything that's coming. So we really want people to know that.
All right. Thank you again, guys. E-SXM, it's here, and it's going to continue coming. So just stay tuned. We're going to hear more from this department over time, as it continues to roll out.
We'll be back.
And let's have a good one. This is NEWSDESK. Take care.
That's all the time we have for today's edition of St. Maarten NEWSDESK. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, new episodes premiere every weekday at 8 a.m. on TV15 and across all our social media platforms. From all of us here at NEWSDESK, we wish you a fantastic week ahead. Until next time, stay friendly, St. Maarten.